Hi, I'm Anna, a 36-year-old teacher, and for 12 years, I thought I was living a love story straight out of a movie. My husband, David, a charismatic 38-year-old professor, and I shared a beautiful life together with our 8-year-old daughter, Lily. But one whispered doubt from my best friend, Claire, unraveled the threads of trust that held our marriage together. This is the story of how I uncovered the truth about the man I thought I knew. I believed I was living my own version of a fairy tale. I met my husband David during a university seminar on Shakespeare. It felt like fate, two literature lovers bonding over sonnets and soliloquies. David was everything I wanted in a partner: intelligent, kind, and ambitious. By the time we got married, I couldn't imagine a life without him. We built a beautiful life together. David became a respected professor, and I pursued a teaching career I loved. Together, we welcomed our daughter, Lily, who quickly became the center of our world. Life wasn't perfect, of course, but we faced challenges as a team. I thought I knew him inside and out. I thought our relationship was unshakable. But as I share this with you, I realize how blind I was to the subtle cracks forming beneath the surface. Looking back, there were signs. Small ones I ignored. But it wasn't until a conversation with my best friend, Claire, that the life I thought I had started to fall apart. Claire and I have been best friends since college. She's always been my voice of reason, the one person I could count on to give me the unvarnished truth, no matter how much it hurt. So when she asked me to meet her for lunch one afternoon, I knew something was on her mind. We sat at our favorite cafe, sipping coffee and catching up. But there was a tension in Claire's voice I couldn't ignore. Finally, she put her cup down, leaned in, and said, "Anna, I need to tell you something, and I'm saying this because I care about you." My stomach dropped. The seriousness in her eyes was unsettling. "It's about David," she continued. "I don't know how to say this, but I think there might be something going on between him and one of his students." I laughed nervously, brushing it off. David? My David? The idea was ridiculous. But Claire didn't back down. She told me about an event at the university where she saw David with Emma, a 24-year-old medical student. According to Claire, the way they looked at each other wasn't professional. I wanted to believe she was wrong, but the seed of doubt was planted. No matter how much I tried to convince myself it was impossible, her words lingered. What if she was right? And if she was, what did that mean for my family? For days after my conversation with Claire, her words haunted me. I tried to shake off the doubts, telling myself she had misunderstood. After all, David had never given me a reason to question him. He was the loving husband, the doting father, the man who always prioritized our family. But once doubt takes root, it's impossible to ignore. Suddenly, every little thing about David seemed suspicious. The late nights grading papers, the guarded way he held his phone, and even the casual smiles he exchanged with other women. I told myself I was being paranoid, but the uneasy feeling wouldn't go away. One night, as we sat on the couch watching TV, I glanced at David. He looked the same, calm, collected, and completely at ease. And yet I felt a distance I couldn't explain. I didn't want to believe it. But what if Claire was right? What if the man I trusted with my heart and my life was hiding something? The thought terrified me. I decided I needed to know the truth, no matter how painful it might be. But I didn't want to confront David, not yet. I needed more than just a gut feeling. I needed proof. The opportunity came during a camping trip with our friends. David had been distracted all evening, constantly glancing at his phone. I tried to act normal, but every time he stepped away to check his messages, I felt a pang of anxiety. Later that night, after everyone had gone to bed, I couldn't take it anymore. As David slept beside me in our tent, I reached for his phone, my heart pounding. I knew it was wrong. I'd never invaded his privacy before. But the doubt was eating me alive. Unlocking the phone felt like opening Pandora's box. At first, everything seemed normal. Emails, work messages, texts with colleagues. But then I found the thread. It was from an unsaved number, and the messages were subtle, yet intimate. "Missed seeing you today," one read. "Looking forward to tomorrow," said another. My hands shook as I scrolled, piecing together what I was seeing. The messages weren't explicit, but they were enough. Enough to suggest there was more to David's relationship with this person. Emma, I was sure of it. Then he had let on. I felt a wave of nausea and heartbreak. Was this real? Had my husband, the man I'd loved for over a decade, betrayed me? I didn't sleep that night. I just lay there, staring into the darkness, wondering what to do next. The morning after the camping trip, I felt like a ghost of myself. I went through the motions, smiling, chatting, pretending everything was fine. But inside, I was unraveling. I couldn't stop replaying the messages in my head. They weren't outright incriminating, but they confirmed my worst fears. There was someone else occupying a space in David's heart that should have belonged to me. Back home, I became consumed with uncovering the truth. I started paying closer attention to his behavior. How he left earlier for work than usual, how he avoided eye contact when I asked about his day, and how his phone was always within reach. One afternoon, as David was at work, I decided to search for more clues. I opened his laptop, heart racing, and sifted through emails and files. What I found was devastating. In a folder marked Research Materials, I discovered a photo of Emma, a candid shot of her laughing at what looked like a university event. Why would he keep that? Then there were the emails, formal on the surface but laced with a familiarity that didn't sit right. Phrases like, "Thank you for staying late to help," and "You're a remarkable student," took on new meaning in the context of everything I knew. I felt like my world was crashing down. The man I thought I knew so well, the man I had trusted with my life, was leading a double life. And yet, I still didn't have the full picture. I needed more proof before confronting him. It wasn't just about my marriage anymore. It was about protecting my daughter, Lily, and making sure she grew up in an environment of honesty and trust. Just as I was grappling with the magnitude of what I had uncovered, Jenna, our neighbor and babysitter, dropped another bombshell. One evening, as she came over to watch Lily, Jenna hesitated before speaking. "Anna, I wasn't sure if I should tell you this," she began, her voice tentative. "But last week, when you were out with Claire, I saw someone at your house, a young woman. She was there for a while." My stomach churned. "Did you see who it was?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Jenna nodded. "I think it was Emma. I've seen her around campus before." Hearing her name confirmed everything I feared. Emma wasn't just a distant suspicion or a name in a text thread. She had been in my home, my sanctuary. The realization was a gut punch, leaving me gasping for air. I thanked Jenna for telling me and sent her home, but inside, I was fuming. The betrayal felt personal now, more invasive than ever. How could David bring her into our space, into the place we had built for our family? That night, I made up my mind. I couldn't live like this anymore. It wasn't just about finding proof. It was about reclaiming my life. I started making plans to confront David, but not before ensuring I had all the evidence I needed. Whatever happened next, I had to be prepared for the fallout. For me, for Lily, and for the life we had worked so hard to build. That evening, as David sat at the dining table helping Lily with her homework, I watched him closely. He looked so ordinary, so comfortable in the life we had built together that for a moment I doubted myself. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe all the signs were just coincidences, and I had let paranoia consume me. But then I remembered the messages, the photo, the emails, and Jenna's revelation. This wasn't paranoia, it was reality. I couldn't let my feelings of love and nostalgia blind me to the truth any longer. After Lily went to bed, I asked David to sit with me in the living room. The air was heavy with tension, though he seemed oblivious to it. "David," I began, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. I need to talk to you about something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. His smile faltered. Of course. What's on your mind? I took a deep breath and laid out everything I knew. The messages, the photo, Jenna's account of Emma's visit. As I spoke, his expression shifted from confusion to something darker. He didn't deny it outright, but his silence spoke volumes. Anna, he finally said, his voice soft and almost pleading. It's not what you think. But I wasn't interested in excuses. Then tell me, I shot back, my composure cracking. What is it? What is Emma to you? His answer wasn't what I expected. He didn't admit to an affair, but he confessed to an emotional connection, claiming it had never crossed a physical line. Whether that was true or not didn't matter. The damage was done. The betrayal was real, and I could no longer ignore it. The confrontation was devastating. David tried to explain, to justify his actions as a moment of weakness. But I wasn't interested in excuses. I needed time to process, to figure out what this meant for our future, and for Lily. In the days that followed, I moved with a clarity I hadn't felt in months. I consulted a lawyer, started documenting everything, and reached out to Claire for support. She reminded me of my strength, assuring me that I wasn't alone in this. Meanwhile, David oscillated between apologetic and defensive, but I refused to let his emotions cloud my judgment. I was done being gaslit, done questioning my instincts. This was about more than just me. It was about setting an example for Lily, teaching her that trust and respect were non-negotiable in any relationship. One evening, as Lily and I played in the living room, David walked in, his face etched with regret. I want to fix this, he said, looking at me, then at Lily. I didn't answer right away. How do you rebuild trust once it's shattered? Can you ever truly recover from betrayal? Those were questions I didn't have answers to yet. What I did know was that I had to put Lily first and protect her from the fallout. For now, I've chosen to focus on healing, for myself and for my daughter. Whether that includes David or not remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. I won't let this define me. I'll find my strength, rebuild my life, and come out of this stronger than before. Thank you for watching and sharing this journey with me. If this story resonated with you, or if you've faced something similar, please share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories like this one. Your support means the world to me. As the days turned into weeks, I started to realize that the life I had been living was no longer my own. For so long, my identity had been intertwined with David, with our family, with the dream we had built together. But now, in the aftermath of the truth, I was forced to confront who I was outside of that life. It wasn't easy. I'd spent over a decade trusting David, and now I was left with nothing but questions and uncertainty. I threw myself into work, taking on new projects at school and devoting time to my students. The routine helped numb the pain, but the real healing came from within. The hardest part was coming to terms with what this betrayal meant for Lily. I couldn't protect her from the hurt, but I could show her what strength looked like. I began to teach her the importance of self-respect and self-worth, to make sure she never tolerated disrespect in her relationships. Every night after reading her a bedtime story, I'd hold her close, knowing that as long as we had each other, we could face whatever came next. David and I didn't speak much in the weeks that followed. He was trying to win me back, sending me flowers, apologizing, begging for another chance. But the truth was, I wasn't sure if I could ever trust him again. The damage had been done, and I had to take the time I needed to decide if forgiveness was possible, or if it was too late to ever feel safe in his arms again. What I knew for sure was that I wasn't going to let this betrayal break me. I wasn't going to let it define me or my daughter. I was stronger than I had ever realized, and in time, I would rebuild. Not just my marriage, but my life, and I would do it on my terms. As I continued my journey of healing, I started to understand something fundamental. Self-worth doesn't come from someone else's actions. It comes from within. For so long, I had defined my worth through my marriage, through my role as a wife and mother. But now, I had to redefine who I was and what I stood for. I began setting new goals, personal goals. I took up painting, something I'd always wanted to try but never had the time for. I started volunteering at a local shelter, helping others who had faced betrayal and heartbreak. I found comfort in knowing that despite everything, I still had the ability to grow, to thrive, and to make a difference. David continued to reach out, apologizing, pleading, offering to change. But I realized I didn't need him to complete me. I was whole on my own. As the months went by, I realized that forgiveness was possible, but it had to come from within me, not because David begged for it, but because I needed to free myself from the weight of resentment. However, it didn't mean I was ready to reconcile. I'm still figuring it out. I'm still finding my footing. But I know that I have the power to create a future for myself and Lily that is filled with love, trust, and hope. Thank you for being a part of this journey with me. If my story touched you, or if you've experienced something similar, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with anyone who might find strength in it. Your support means everything to me. Stay strong and take care of yourselves.